Jacinda Ardern is flying to Vietnam as she prepares to take her first step onto the world stage this weekend when she joins leaders in the Asia-Pacific region to discuss trade and security. The Prime Minister's most pressing issue will be the revived Trans-Pacific Partnership, whether a deal can be struck between the 11 countries who remain since the US pulled out under the Trump presidency, and whether she can sell that deal back home when many of her government supporters oppose the TPP. Our economics correspondent Patrick O'Mara is travelling with the Prime Minister, and he joined us a short time ago via Skype from Cairns Airport.
We've got the entire place to ourselves, so we're talking about maybe 15 journalists. The Prime Minister's in duty-free at the present time, picking up some makeup. As I said, they opened it up especially for her. But yes, and it is very hot, as you can imagine. I mean, you'd be used to it living in Auckland, but us Wellingtonians, not at all.
And so you are stopping. What plane are you in? You're in an Air Force plane, Patrick. We're sort of bunny hopping, as the Air Force does, up to Vietnam.
Yeah, that's right. So we're in the 757, very nice plane, very nice service that we're getting. These people really do look after you. Very nice lunch. We stop off in Cairns. They are refueling. We'll take off in about an hour or so's time, and we will go straight to Da Nang, a seaside resort in central Vietnam, or on the coast of central Vietnam.
The nice thing about travelling in these circumstances, and Jim Bolger was a great one for doing this, is that the Prime Minister works the plane, right, and talks to the journalists, and a kind of off-the-record briefing unfolds. Have you had that conversation with Jacinda Ardern, and if so, what is she hoping to achieve?
Yes, we have, John. And look, I have to say, I've probably been to about 4 or 5 APECs now, and this is one of the few times where we've had the Prime Minister circulate, and she did so very early on in the trip. So she came in, introduced herself like I didn't know who she was, and we had a little bit of chat about some of the things, and of course the top of mind was TPP, and she's made some issues, she's introduced some issues into it that she wants to see resolved. One of them she's already done, as you know. She's going to make it harder for foreigners to buy houses. The second one, she's going there, she wants concessions from the other 10 nations around this issue of foreign investors being able to sue governments.
Yeah.
Now, as she said in it, it's a bit iffy whether she's going to get much play on it. Now, we know that some countries are not going to move, like Japan. They want TPP done, and they don't want to renegotiate it at all, and they don't want any changes to ISDS, this investor-state dispute mechanism. But she's hoping some other countries may be amenable to it. We've already got one with Australia, which was, of course, we've got a side letter with them, which allows just our domestic courts to sort out these issues. That was done under Todd McClay. She's hoping to use that same model and do it with others. But look, overall, John, when we were talking TPP, she's still in the camp. There's a 50-50 chance of this deal being done tomorrow.
What does she have to get to sell this to the most reluctant elements of the constituency at home, the people who most strongly oppose TPP? What does she have to bring back to them?
She admits that, look, it's a balancing act, and a very careful one, because on the one side, as you point out, Labor went into the election, made a commitment that it wasn't going to sign TPP in the current form, and it had a list of demands that it wanted to do. But on the other hand, trade is a priority for a country like New Zealand. We have had a bipartisan approach on that for 4 or 5 decades, and she realises that the only way New Zealand's going to grow is to be able to sell things to people overseas. So it is very much a balancing act. I think one thing that she is going to do, she's been very resolute in setting out right from the very start what she wants to do. And she did make the commitment on the foreign buyers. She's met that. She's going to do her best to try and get changes to the foreigners being able to sue the New Zealand government. And I think she's going to be able to actually have to say, to hold up her hand and say, look, we did our best on it, but at the end of the day, what's in the best interests of New Zealand? Now, we are only just one country in all of this. There are other countries out there, they have their own demands, and so it isn't sure that this deal is going to be done. But if push comes to shove, and the other countries do want to do this deal, I think New Zealand will go there. She certainly hinted that that would be the way that we would go.
Patrick O'Mara, who's travelling with the Prime Minister, joining us from a bizarrely empty Cairns Airport.